Welcome to the Day 9 Challenge, Breathing, Optimizing Body and Mind. Last week we explored the technique of breathing with natural flow of music. This week I would like to explore the breathing technique for more general occasions, such as preparation yourself before performance, recovering from exhaustion, relaxing body, and inducing calm state of mind. Since we breathe so many times in a day, you can imagine how significantly the way we breathe can make impact on our lives. Today, I would like to dig deeper into breathing. First, let's overview the mechanism of breathing. Movement of diaphragm is the main engine for breathing. Diaphragm is the muscle membrane between thoracic cavity, which is a chest cavity, and abdominal cavity. So chest cavity, thoracic cavity is basically space within the rib cage. And then abdominal cavity is the lower part of your torso, that basically stomach area. That is the abdominal cavity. The second engine is intercostal muscles. Intercostal muscles are between ribs, so that expand rib cage or also contract the rib cage. So kind of meat we eat when we have a pork rib or something like that, a nice chunk of meat in between. So with the movement of diaphragm and intercostal muscle, the space of thoracic and abdominal cavity expand and contract. That changes air pressures inside of the thoracic cavity, which is a chest cavity, then indirectly contract the lung, or expand and contract lung, because lung doesn't have any muscle to change the volume of inside. So that creates inhalation and exhalation. There are two ways or two steps in breathing, depending on which engine, which muscle group you use for breathing. The first one I would like to talk about is abdominal breathing. So in this case, a diaphragm is the main engine. At inhalation, diaphragm, which is between chest cavity and stomach cavity, expand out toward abdominal. So kind of expand this way. That makes your abdominal cavity expand outward because they push down, so you have to make a space to take the difference of this much space coming down, while making more space in the thoracic cavity, because basically bottom goes down a little bit, so upper part of the cavity, thoracic cavity, gain more space. As a result, air pressure inside thoracic cavity decreases and lung can expand and then sucking air in. At the exhalation, diaphragm goes back to the natural position that makes thoracic cavity contract or lose their space, and abdominal cavity collapse back to the normal position. So as a result, air pressure inside thoracic cavity increases because space getting smaller, tighter, and lung shrink and pushes air out. So when you practice abdominal breathing, intentionally push out lower abdomen, like a lower than belly button area. As you inhale, not just forward, but also feel expansion sideways and also the back to the back too. So let's practice this abdominal breathing. So key is you can intend to push your lower part of your abdomen out as you inhale. And then as you exhale, you naturally lessen the pressure, like a rubber ball is blown up at the beginning as inhalation, and then kind of naturally collapse, and the air comes out, right? So like that. So let's try. So through your nose, inhale with your lower abdominal area pushing out, not only forward, side and back, as much as you want, comfortable. And then release that expanding tension and collapse back to the place where it was. Inhale, exhale. Okay, this is abdominal breathing. So next, I want to talk about thoracic breathing. In this case, intercostal muscles is used as engine. At inhalation, diaphragm is not moving much this time. Instead, intercostal muscle works and expand the rib cage. That makes more space in the thoracic cavity and lessens the pressure there. As a result, lung can expand and suck the air in. At exhalation, rib cage collapses from the expanded position to the normal position. As a result, air pressure in thoracic cavity increase because space getting smaller, and lung shrink and pushes air out. So when you practice thoracic breathing, retract your abdomen a little bit to make sure that you are not using diaphragm movement so much. So if you retract your abdomen a little bit before inhalation, and then try to expand your chest forward, backward, and sideways also, and upward. So tuck in your abdomen a little bit, and then inhale through your nose, and then kind of feel your rib cage open up or lift it with the air, forward, backward, also sideways, and also don't forget, relax your shoulder, and the kind of shoulder is lifted up a little bit by the expansion of thoracic cavity. And then naturally you relax all this expanding pressure, the thoracic cavity collapse, and then lessen the space and push out the air. Okay, so these are two different ways of breathing, or two different stages of breathing. I said stages because full breathing, we use both. So when we do the full breathing, first we start with abdominal breathing. So which means at the beginning of this full breathing, try to push the lower part of your abdomen outward and make a space down there. And that open up the more space on the thoracic cavity because the bottom of the diaphragm go down, so you have more space up. And then you start breathing in. And at a certain point, you cannot push out your belly anymore. And then you switch to expand the rib cage, upper body. So now you feel like this is expanding. But naturally, when you start shifting the attention to the chest area to make them expand, your stomach will probably come back a little bit. Okay? And then now you are totally full stomach area and chest area, and then now you start releasing. But probably release happens naturally from the chest. And after you push out all the air from the chest, and then you start tucking in the belly a little bit. And then that's also put a little more pressure to the thoracic cavity, and then push the last bit of air out from lung. So in a way, we start inhale, abdominal breathing, and then switch to the thoracic breathing inhalation. But exhalation, you start putting the air out of the chest first, and then finally you use the abdominal exhalation, and then finish the process. Let's practice a couple of times. Through your nose, inhale with your pushing your stomach area out, out, out. And if it's getting full, switch to the expansion of your chest area. And if you hit the limit, release the tension on the chest. And then naturally, you're also releasing tension in abdominal area, but at last, you tuck in a little bit the stomach and push the last bit of air out. I want you to practice this a few times, but anyway, I need to go on to talk about other topics. So, next topic is benefit of full and intentional breathing. When you're nervous, you are told, oh, have a deep breath, right? Since you're a child, probably. So, what is the benefit of that? The first one is strengthen the connection between mind and body. So in other words, provoke whole body awareness, which is awareness on deep part of your body. And we went through this the last week exercise work, body awareness and other places. So kind of you get it, right? So second one is energize your body and mind. Think about yawning. When you get sleepy, you yawn, right? And then kind of you feel refreshed and kind of re-energized, or kind of reset the body. So deep breathing has definitely that effect on your body and mind. Also, induce muscle relaxation. So often, after you do the full breathing, you feel relaxed because you have to expand torso muscle all the way, and then you contract torso muscle all the way in. So this is like a massage happening from inside. So that induce the relaxation and help your mind to be clear and attentive calmly. So our mind can be clear and attentive in excitement sometimes, but with a deep breathing, we can induce the state of clear and attentive mind with calmness. So this is really good for playing the instrument. We're not fighting, we are not competing physically, but we need to have a very high level of control on our body. So clean and attentive but calm state is really great place. So next topic is what we are exchanging through air by breathing. So I usually think this way. Think of two different materials we exchange. The first one is chemical exchange. This happens with or without intention. So amount of gas exchange matters, like CO2, O2, right? Something like that. Also the water, something like that. So another one is spiritual exchange. This happens only with intention. And this case, quality and content of intention matters. So in a sense, we inhale and exhale what we intend to. So for example, inhale spiritual energy, it's inspiration, with gratitude. And exhale something heavy you want to let go with emotion of love and forgiveness or something like that. So if you breathe with this type of intention, you start feeling something different. And some yoga teachers or some other therapists use a breathing technique, actually try to treat people's psychological condition with this type of intentional breathing. So this is very powerful. As the last subject of today's seminar, I would like to talk about intentional breathing as an anchor to the present moment. So let me explain about what present moment or importance of it. So first, I have a question. What is special about humans? What makes human fundamentally different from animals? The answer is advanced emotion and intellectual functions. So why these functions are so special? Because they are not bound to time-space reality. In other words, they can be independent from the three-dimensional reality or physical reality. For example, you can think about something completely out of physical reach, such as a grand universe or world of quantum particles. Emotion also interact with past through memory and future by wish and hope, or sometimes anxiety and fear. Emotional and intellectual functions are definitely the greatest gift from the God. Without them, no creativity, no art, no music, and no harp. However, thoughts and emotions can become the major obstacles to be present, be here now, if you are not careful and totally sucked into them. From my experience as a psychiatric nurse, most of the mental sickness is a variation of being sucked into emotion and or thought, accompanied by disconnection from the physical reality, disconnection from here and now. For musicians, it is critically important to be present or be in the moment when we are creating music. So I will tell you why. Music is a structure built in the plane of time, which is a fourth dimension. From the viewpoint of fifth dimension entity that is independent from time and space or physical reality, such as our intellect and emotion, music is definitely real structure, so that music can touch our emotion and affect our thought, right? On the other hand, for our physical existence, music is not tangible. We can experience music, but in this moment, music has only a note or part of the note. So it doesn't exist on a physical plane as a tangible existence. On the other hand, our mind can recall the impression of entire 10 minutes long piece in a second. So it means it is real for fifth dimensional entity, which is our mind, thought and emotion. So our physical function, our sensation and moving apparatus are the main workforce for making sound. but they are totally dependent on physical reality. So they can create music only note by note in the moment. So in a sense, our body creates a fragment of sound in the present moment as a tiny part of entire piece unfolding over time. That's why we need to be present. We unfold music fragment by fragment in the consecutive present moment or consecutive moments of now. So now comes step by step. So if we wander away from the present moment, it is crucial. For listeners, wandering away from the present moment is not so crucial because they can come back to the music anytime. But if player lose the connection to the present moment, it is as dangerous as driving highway with eye closed. Then how can we strengthen the connection to the present moment during the performance? The answer is the intentional breathing. Intentional breathing can work very well as an anchor to the present moment, simply because breathing is happening here now in the physical body. Even more conveniently, breathing can bridge between physiological activities in our body and mind, which is intellect and emotion. In a sense, breathing is a cross-dimensional phenomenon. Let me explain. The breathing can affect the physiology in the body and state of mind. Like a deep breathing, slow our heartbeat, and then lessen the activity of the sympathetic nerve system and induce the parasympathetic nerve system. So all this physiology changes by breathing. While mind can affect breathing by intention, because you can control the pace of breathing or depth, right? That indirectly affect the physiology in the body. So actually, it is very difficult for our mind to affect our physiology in the body directly without using breathing. So when our mind participates breathing through intention, it becomes intentional breathing, or you can call it mindful breathing. That helps us anchor to the present moment, integrate our body with mind and spirit, and optimize our body function and mind functions. Okay, good luck and happy breathing.